Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
Oh, yes, Thrive Nation. Welcome back to the Thrivetime Show on your podcast download. My name is Clay Clark. I'm joined here with the Amazon best-selling co-author of the book Start Here, which you can always download for free, the ebook version at thrivetimeshow.com, and with the business coach, the renowned business coach, Mr. Eric Chupp, and
Hello.
our special guest, Harley Lichtenstein,
Hello.
a recent graduate from Oral Roberts University who listens to the podcast, and he has some questions about implementing some of the proven systems. So, Harley, what is your next question?
All right. So there will be many clients that we have with coaching and stuff like that where the internet is very intimidating. You
Yeah.
know, internet, Google, websites, SEO. It's just many of them will have no idea what we're talking about and
Right.
be quite adverse to the whole conversation.
Right.
And so how can we talk with them and really help them to calm down and encourage them that these technical things will really move the needle for their business?
Well, okay. It's just a 3-step process. Pretty easy, in my opinion. What you do is, first off, you have to build someone's faith. So I don't know anybody out there if you can relate to this, but faith is like a belief in the unseen thing, right? Faith is like believing. It's hard to build faith because most people don't understand how to build faith in somebody. So I'm going to tell you right now how you build faith, okay? So this is how you do it with a client, okay? Because it's not a religious kind of faith. Martin Luther King Jr. Is obviously the famous gentleman who helped to lead, really steer the civil rights movement of the time. But he said the first step, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Again, we'll put it on the show notes, but Martin Luther King Jr. says faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. That's what he said faith is. Now, that's a religious faith, though, so I want to make sure you're getting that. I'm not giving you a religious faith as a business coach, nor am I going to expect for you to have that kind of faith. So you as a coach, or when you're coaching with a client, you can't expect the client to have that kind of faith. You can't be like, well, this just works and just go for it. So what you do is people build their faith in a religious sense by hearing the word over and over and over, and by seeing testimonials. Testimonies. Hearing the word, testimonials. Hearing the word, testimonies. Hearing the word, seeing signs and wonders. Jesus, when he came to earth, I don't know if people realize that, he put on kind of a laser show. You know, he came down here, healed, lots of food available for everybody. We just took a fish and some loaves, and then bam, we just feeding an army of people. Walking on water. But you are not a Jesus. So we're business coaches. So what you have to do, Marshall, is we have to show the client examples, ample examples. Marshall, how do you go about showing your clients examples? So let's just right now, I'm saying, I don't know if being to the top of Google helps. I don't know if it's going to help my business. Fire off some examples from your clients or clients you know of that are now top in Google that have got to be top of Google as a result of what we're doing, and then are making copious amounts of money as a result of being top in Google.
One of the examples I can think of is Chris Schwartz. Down in New Orleans. He's a lawyer. He's a workers' compensation attorney down in New Orleans.
I don't believe you. What do I have to search for?
So if you Google workers' compensation attorney New Orleans, workers
compensation
attorney New Orleans.
Attorney New Orleans, like the city New Orleans?
Yep, like New and then in Orleans.
Got it. I'm pulling it up here now.
And he is going to be under LawyerSchwartz.com.
I see him.
Oh,
there he is. There he
The
is.
Schwartz.
There he
Okay,
is.
okay. I'm going to one up you because I'm better than you are with helping my clients get to the top of Google.
All right,
So, If you Google Tulsa cookies, you see Barbie cookies there.
Oh.
Top in Google. Oh yeah. So one. And Chubb, you want to one up us all? You have a better example?
Let's do Oklahoma City Auto Repair.
Oklahoma City Auto Repair. Okay, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma
City is kind of a small place. I mean, it's twice the size of Tulsa, but it's.
Okay.
I don't respect it. It seems too easy there.
Oh, come on, do it. Let's
see. Okay.
Keep going.
Where we see it?
Oh, Shepherd right there.
There he is.
Shepherd Automotive number 1.
Okay, this is one though. I mean, what if you're like an iPhone repair shop in Tulsa? I mean, that'd be kind of cool if you could be top in Google. And there's Phone Doctors. And so but again, people don't build their faith by seeing examples. No, of course they do. So one is just showing examples. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second is citing every single thing you say. So you want to have, again, you show examples, right? But then you want to have statistics, right? So I would say to you, Mr. Listener, Mr. Coaching Client, I'd say, do you know that 88% of people read reviews? And they're like, no, they don't. That's just a stat you made up. Because most people do make up stats. I want to throw this out here for you. This is a really funny story.
67% of people make up stats right on the spot.
I used to work with a pastor, this is about a decade ago, who openly admitted to me, he says, I got to tell you, working with you has helped me a lot by having to write outlines before my sermons. And I said, it's awesome. And he goes, because in the past, sometimes I just make up stuff and I go, so you literally are making up the sermon? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, so you're saying that you might have many times from the pulpit have said Bible verses that don't exist.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. And I go, wait a minute. So you've actually, and the conversation came up because there was a Bible verse about how the love of money, and let's make sure you get this. If you look up the love of money Bible verse, okay? So the love of money Bible verse. I want to make sure we're getting this. This is so funny because this is like real stuff, okay? So it says on 1 Timothy 6:10, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So saying if you love money itself, it doesn't mean that you need to it's not wrong to love your business and to want it to be successful. It's not wrong to love winning in business. It's bad if all you care about is money. If that's the end goal for you is just money, that's bad because it makes you make poor short-term decisions if you're in love with money. But he actually just said, in the Bible it says, and he just said something, and I was watching his video of him preaching. I go, do you realize what you said wasn't actually a Bible verse? And he goes, yeah, I know. A lot of times I just kind of make up stuff as I go. And I'm like,
winging it.
So you're paraphrasing Bible verses? He goes, yeah, and that's the one thing I love about the coaching program is that you've kind of got me to do that less. And I just thought, wow. I mean, so again, go to church. When you go to church, bring that Bible with you. I mean, you understand pastors are making up statistics on the fly just as much as a shady contractor. Do you realize this? I mean, it's the same percentage. It's not like I'm saying a lot of pastors will get up there and they'll be like, well, I tell you what, survey came out and showed that 8 out of 10 Americans are not happy with their relationships. And then if you pull them aside and go, hey, buddy, where'd you get that stat? They're like, I made it up. Heard it on the radio. So again, when you're with a client and you say 8 out of 10 business people read reviews before making a buying decision, you would need to cite it. And you'd show them a link to the Forbes article that shows that 88% of consumers read reviews. Or if you're going to tell somebody, Marshall, the first time you tell someone that 75% of employees steal, what's the reaction almost every single time?
They're like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. But oh my gosh, is it really 75%? It can't possibly be 75%.
But then when you pull up the statistic that was published on CBS News and done in conjunction with the U.S. Chamber, then they go, oh. Or when you tell a client, hey, you not saving money is a problem, and you need to save money to be successful. You got to automate your savings. They usually will say, yeah, but it's different for me, and yada yada. And they feel like it's different. I said, no, it's okay. The average American, according to the Federal Reserve, has less than $400 saved. And they would say, what? And I'd say, yeah, let's pull it up here. And I'm like, oh, look, see, CBS News says a $500 surprise expense would put most Americans into debt. Forbes shows that 63% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $500 expense. And when I cite it all of a sudden it becomes real. So 1, you give an example. 2, you cite it. 3 is that you have to be credible. So if you're late all the time as a business coach, nobody will respect you at all. At all. Nobody will respect you at all. If you're late at all, people don't respect you at all. If you're consistently late, people just, Marshall, they don't respect you.
What is the Warren Buffett quote?
He says about the reputation.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull it up. Warren Buffett.
I don't want to misquote it.
So Warren Buffett has a quote on a reputation, which is in his book Snowball, which I love. But he says, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it.
That's right. And so you got to be consistent. The consistency builds confidence. Consistency builds confidence. And so whatever it is, whether it's consistency, it's like consistency in contributing Google or Google content to your website. Consistency builds confidence in Google. Okay?
Right.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again builds confidence in your employees.
If you show up to a coaching meeting that starts like at 8 a.m. and you look like you just woke up, you would just lose all confidence with that client forever.
That's right.
Because they would no longer trust you. So it's a whole different game than where college. You go to college and you can basically show up looking like you just woke up because you did just wake up. And you could cheat on your test and get a B, and that's how college works. But in business, you can't. And the final way is that you let the person know that, hey, here are action items that you need to do, and we need to do by a set date. And when you assign a specific, you take the big goal, Marshall, you break it into small steps, and you say, now you have to get this done by Friday, and I have to get this. As a coaching program, we're going to do this thing by Friday, and you're going to get this done by Friday. As a client, you get this done by Friday. As a coaching program, we'll get this done by Friday. When you assign a specific to-do date and you type it on the agenda, and both parties leave feeling whole and not full of holes, they understand what they need to do. You've broken down the big idea into small steps. It's magic. It's magic.
Well, you got to create the culture of accountability. You got to hold the client accountable, because I have a client right now where he just started holding his employees accountable,
Right.
to doing the checklist that he's implemented. And in fact, they like that culture more. They see him more as a leader on a daily basis, and they look to him for guidance. They look to him as a source of wisdom, and they like being held accountable. And so if you're the manager, if you're the business owner that's not following up, if you're not holding people accountable, that would be the change that you have, and that ultimately builds more confidence in your clients.
So again, how do you convince somebody of what you're saying is true? It's persuasion is what you have to do. And I would just say everything we just said to you is what you should do. But I would also recommend that anybody out there, if you're trying to persuade anyone to do anything consistently, AKA called being successful, you're going to have to read the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I suggest getting the audio book and listening to it while driving until your brain explodes. And as soon as the gray matter goes, you want to shove it back in there because you're going to need
duct
that.
tape.
Duct tape it together. But then you want to get it to where you can almost quote and cite that book, because the moves that are taught in How to Win Friends and Influence People are absolutely powerful. And there's not a moment that goes by during my workday that I don't use one of the moves that are taught in that book. And that is how you persuade people to get stuff done, how to do things that are not their normal. And we like to end the show with a 3 and then a 2, and we do a little 1, and we'll insert the little boom action. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.